We can play that.
Huh?
Yeah.
You can go there.
Yeah.
Put a group.
Message.
Lose conflict. Otherwise, no fun. If everything works and we then we should not be here. We should be in some western country. But we are here to be able to get rid of all the karmas quickly. We can focus and use it for our growth. Om Shruti Smriti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavapadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavadyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Punaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhaktaya Pratibodhikam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Puranam Vina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitaamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvamanusandadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samadaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidussurasuraganah Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Om Narayana Paro Vyakta Andamavyakta Sambhavam Andasyantasvine Lokaha Saptadvipachame Vini. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Sasamshayam Mahabaho Manodurnigraham Chalam Abhyasena Tu Kaunteya Vairagyena Jagruhyate Asamyaratmana Yogaha Dushprapariti Mevanihi Bhashyatmana Tuyatata Shakyo Vaptumupayataha. Answer of Lord Krishna to what? To the feeling, a question arising from a sense of, what is that, a hopelessness on part of Arjuna that even after so many chapters and so many ways the knowledge has been given, and a whole chapter on how to train the mind, etc., still this knowledge is evading me. Still, not even the knowledge, how to prepare the mind, the upayas for preparing the mind are also what? Evading me. So what to do, how to do this? And then of course the conclusion that has come in Arjuna's mind is what? Not possible to train the mind. Why? Because I have tried and nothing has happened. Nothing has happened at all. And so, beautiful answer by the Lord in the first of the two verses which contain the answer. And in the first verse what is said, the first line is agreeing with Arjuna. Because the agreement is coming from an objective perspective. That indeed the mind is difficult to train. And it's not because the mind is, Pramati, Valavad, Dridam, yes, all that may be there, but it is possible to conquer the mind. But the mind being connected with the Indriyas, and the Indriyas being what? Paranchi Khani. So whose fault is it? That the Indriyas are outside? Bhagwan's fault, yeah. Whenever you want to blame me. Immediately you feel the guilt. Yeah. Why he put it like this? Why are Devi's fault? Why she put the ears outside? Why she put the eyes outside? And then wherever the eyes goes, what goes? Mind also goes. Naturally. And then you tell me, look within. After putting everything outside. At least if the jagat was grey, setting our tones, like old photographs. And then if the jagat was grey in color, not anything interesting. No interesting people, no interesting things, no interesting connections, no interesting indriyarthas, objects of the indriyas, then I can focus with it because there is nothing to look outside. What is there? This is a boring jagat. No. Bhagavan put salt in the wound. How? First by putting all the indriyas, golakas outside and then making the jagat super interesting. Yes. All riot of colors, wherever you look colors, wherever you look interesting, exciting forms, interesting, exciting sounds. And then what was the sixth chapter? Go within. How to go within? This is frustrating. Go within when everything is without. I am asked to go within. It's a setup for failure, and this is what the objective aspect of Arjuna's question is addressing this. The subjective aspect is of course his own frustration and the hopelessness, tinged with hopelessness. That is his subjective aspect. The objective aspect is how are we supposed to accomplish this? How is this even supposed to happen? He doesn't understand. And to that the Lord very beautifully, addressing the objective aspect, says, yes, everything is outside and you are asked to bring the mind within. It is durnigraham and it is chalam. Therefore it is difficult. But two upayas are given. What is that? Abhyasa. Abhyasa means repetition. Same thing we need for Sanskritam also. Abhyasa we need. Yeah. And Vairagya from free time we need for excelling in Sanskritam. Don't say Abhyasa and Vairagya from Sanskritam. No. So, not Sanskritat Vairagya. So, Sanskritaya Vairagya. So, Vairagya for the sake of mastery in Sanskritam. So therefore, so here also, to master the mind, what is needed? Abhyasa. What kind of Abhyasa? Dhyana, Nididhyasana, Abhyasa. So Dhyana Abhyasa for who? Yoga Arurukshuhu. For the one preparing to master, have this self-mastery in the form of the Indriyas. For that person, what Abhyasa? Dhyana Abhyasa. For the Jnani, who has a lot of pratibandhas in terms of owning up the knowledge, for him or her, what is there? This Nididhyasana Abhyasa. And that person is called what? Yoga Rudha. So Arukshu and Arudha, slightly different abhyasas, but both inward practices of going within. Only the object of contemplation, meditation differs. We'll see that. So, and then abhyasa, and then vairagya. Vairagya is also an abhyasa, Adi Shankara says. Vairagya is what? Vairagya is repeatedly seeing the fallacies of the finite and choosing the infinite as oneself. And so, when you see the fallacies of something, when you find fault, when you go to a shop and you see something and it is full of defects, you see the defects, are you going to then pay your hard-earned money and buy that object? No, you will walk away, you will say, oh my God, this is a rip-off. Yeah, nowadays everything is online. Yeah, so you buy something and the online means it's a, what should I say, virtual rip-off, literally and figuratively. Because they can sell anything. No guarantees, no warranties. And then by the time you turn it turns on for 1 minute exactly and then it turns off. And then you try to return it. What does it say? Non-returnable. All electronic things are like that. Non-refundable. Then you are stuck with it. So as soon as you see online big sale, what to do? Dosha darshanam should happen immediately. Like this will not work. Do I really need this? So this way, repeatedly seeing the doshas in samsara. Doshas means the upadhi doshas. Because the doshas are coming in the form of various upadhis. Even electronic upadhis, that's also an upadhi. So you see the upadhi doshas and then what do? You have vairagya. One time vairagya, is it enough? Say no. No, because that's why we need repeated vairagya. That also becomes what? Abhyasa. One is dhyana, nididhyasana abhyasa, and the other one is what? Vairagya abhyasa. So two forms of abhyasa are given. Even vairagya is converted into what? Abhyasa, repeated practice. And this repetition is very important. It is going to be underscored even in the next verse, even in the next shloka. It is going to be totally underscored. And then what is given here? Let us see. We saw the verse, right? We saw the verse. And so now we will see this thing. असंशयम् नास्ति संशयः मनः दुर्निग्रहं चलम् इति अत्र हे महाबाहो महाबाहो is a sambodhana like Guru Mahabaho sambodhana and meaning is addressing him directly. And then we saw yesterday, what should he start pumping? One arm should be abhyasa, another arm should be what? Vairagya. He should be abhyasa bahu and vairagya bahu. Not this mahabahu. What will come? Nothing. You can just polish off a few enemies. That's all. When the inner enemies are raging, this is what you need. For the inner enemies, you need a different kind of bahu, different kind of arm strength, and that is going to be talked about in detail here. So iti atra means nothing much to explain here. So na asti samshayam means doubtless. There is no doubt at all that the mind is difficult to conquer because all the indriyas are facing outside, and what is outside is what? This wonderful jagat of names and forms. Therefore it is difficult to go within, durnigraham, difficult to have an inward practice. And chalam, the mind keeps going from thought to thought. This is true. And then, but किंतु अभ्यासेन तु अभ्यासः नाम चित्तभूमौ कस्याञ्चित् समानप्रत्यय आवृत्तिः चित्तस्य ब्यूटिफुल भाष्य. So, what is Abhyasa is defined. The definition of Abhyasa is given very succinctly. Chitta Bhumau. So, Bhumi means what? Floor, surface. Chitta means what? Heart. On the surface of the heart. Means in the heart. It's not that the heart has a floor or the heart has a surface, but it's a figurative. Chitta Bhumau means in the Chittam, in the heart, in the mind. So what happens? What should be done in the mind? What is Abhyasa? Chitta Bhumau. The Chitta Bhumi is the location for which Abhyasa. There, this Chitta Bhumau, Asyanchit, any kind of Samana Pratyaya Avrittihi Chittasya. Samana Pratyaya means same cognition or similar cognition. Identical cognition or similar cognition. In other words, we know this very well as Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. Sajatiya Vritti means same jati is there and the same kind of things are repeated again and again. Even in puja we have Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. All concentrated on the deity, and then first there is Abhisheka of various dravyas, and then after that what is there? Then wiping of the deity, Alankara, flowers, fruits, naivedya, it's all Sajatiya Vritti only. It is for people who cannot go inwards, there is something outward to focus on, so that Ishta Devata in front becomes the locus for this. That is what is in the Chitta Bhumi. Except it is outside because one is unable to concentrate within. Now, if the same Ishta Devata is kept in the heart, kept in the mind, and then you do, let's say, Manas Puja, that is also Samana Pravaha, Samana Pratyaya Pravaha, because you are not having so much ayasa, you don't have to collect the dravyas, you don't have to go for milk and turmeric water and all these things. You just have to imagine the milk. Very nice. So you don't imagine a thimble full of milk. Since it is free to imagine, you can imagine an ocean of milk. No problem. And so you can do Manasa Puja. And for the people, from there you can train the mind further for the people interested. And then what do? You remove the deity. You remove the mental milk and chandan water, turmeric water you take away. And then what do you have instead of the rupa? You replace with the nama. Because nama is much more subtle than rupa. Rupa at least is objectifiable. Nama is much more subtle. It is just the abhidhana. So you remove the abhideya and focus on the abhidhana, on the nama. And that nama will be what? Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And in the meditation you don't imagine Vasudeva. Okay? You don't imagine Mahavishnu. You don't look at Krishna and then wonder where shall I place the, what is that called? The peacock plume. Shall I place it on this side or shall I place it on that side? Don't imagine like that. Don't imagine Krishna, don't visualize Shiva, don't visualize Durga, nothing. You focus only on the Nama. And then the Samana Vritti Pravaha or Samana Pratyaya Pravaha is by chanting again and again and again. Or it could be Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. If you have by hearted the 108 names of Lord Shiva, you can chant it mentally. Because each one is not Om Namah Shivaya, it's different. But still it is same jati, same deity. Which deity? Ishta Devata here. And again, when some what is that called? Some glory of Shiva is talked about. Krittivasase Namaha. So you don't imagine him covered by the skin of the animal, etc. No, you don't do that. You just chant it. And the focus is on making the mind busy only with that particular thought. And that thought is like the other thought or it is identical to the previous thought. Did you get that? Yes. So that is how it becomes Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha, what we say, or what does he say here? Samana Pratyaya Avrittihi. Avrittihi, repetition. You can't just say Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, I have meditated. Why? Because I said Om Namah Shivaya. No, you have to say repeatedly. How many times? As many times as it takes for the mind to comfortably sit with it. The mind has to stop jumping, the mind has to stop sleeping, the mind has to be awake, and the mind has to, most of all, stop rebelling. No, zero rebellion. And then that is the time to get up from meditation. Elsewhere it is said. That is the time when to get up from meditation. If you have a question like that, get up when you don't want to get up. That is how everything is in Vedanta. That is the answer also to the question, when will I get sannyasa? When you no longer want it, it will come. Yes. And same thing, when can I get up from meditation? When you are no longer rebelling and wanting to get up, when the ahankara doesn't join the mind in the rebellion and goad the person to get up. So one is settling down in the samana vritti, samana pratyaya avritti. In this repetition of the similar pratyayas or the same pratyaya, same thought, you keep repeating. And it may be boring, it may be difficult, sleep may come, obstacles may come, but it has a very big benefit. What is the benefit? The benefit is not in the meditation. The benefit comes outside the meditative time. Why? Because you find that the mind, the effects of that meditation, the meditation and that phalam, the dhyana phalam helps jnana phalam. That is how it is. Why? Because for dhyana and jnana, same thing is needed. What is needed? Samadhanam. That is what is needed. Samadhanam is focus. So when you focus the mind for half an hour, 50 minutes, whatever you are doing, when you focus that, then outside of the meditative sphere, even in the quote-unquote everyday life, it is easier for the mind to be brought to a state of calmness. It's easier to capture the mind and not always go about doing whatever one wants and hopping, leapfrogging from thought to thought. It is much easier to hold the mind. Otherwise, what happens? The mind holds you. So the meditation is a quiet affair, and its prasada is also a very quiet affair. You can't tell a person whether they have been meditating or not. You cannot tell. Only they can tell, because what kind of a composure they enjoy, they know. And so that is how it is. You can't necessarily tell. They may be animated, but still, that is as though, but inside they enjoy a composure. So, chittasya samana pratyaya avrittihi abhyaso nama. So, where does it happen? Chitta bhumau, on the surface of the mind, not surface, on in the mind. That is what it is. And then asyam chit, whatever it is, whichever one it is. And so this is for Saguna Brahma Upasana, or for the Yoga Arurukshuru. For the person who is not yet a jnani, this is what is advised to gain the focus. So for one who is Sapratibandha jnani, meaning the one who has jnana but along with pratibandhas. What are pratibandhas? Obstacles. What kind of obstacles? When vyavahara comes, jnanam is out. When jnanam comes, vyavahara is out. So meaning, jnanam, I am a Brahma jnani as long as I am not transacting any action or interaction with anybody else. As soon as interaction comes, what happens to me? I become ajnani. So this is what is called the viparita bhavana. So viparita bhavana nivrittau. So for that, in this viparita bhavana nivritti, what should we do? We should take samadhi abhyasa. Samadhi Savikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpaka Samadhi also. And then, so Samadhi means what? Vedantic Samadhi, not Yoga Sutra Samadhi. What is Vedantic Samadhi? Repeatedly bringing the words of the Shastra that I have studied, that I know. Like Avihi, Sannitam, Guhacharam, Nama. On that Avihi itself I can meditate. So because now I know the meaning of the word Avihi. And this Avihi, what is it? Avabhasate. And then what is it? Mahatpadam. So Avihi, Mahatpadam itself is a Mahavakya, and I can, since I know the meaning, I can contemplate on it, bring it to mind and see the meaning repeatedly. Not repeating the words and memorizing the Upanishad. Not that that's wrong, it's good to memorize the Upanishad, but it's not reciting the Upanishad from memory, but seeing the Artha of the Mahavakya, Mahavakyartha, repeatedly seeing that in the mind. And so that is one form of Vedantic Nididhyasana. And the other form is, we saw here itself, is that you cognitively disregard the Nama Rupa of any object you focus on, you disregard the Nama Rupa. What is there? Avihi, Brahman, myself. You encounter yourself sans the Nama Rupa in every situation, in everything. And then this is talked about in the Drishya Viveka. Aham Brahmeti, no, that comes in other one. Ridiva Bhashya Deshevi Yasmin Kasminscha Vastuni Samadhihi Adhyaha Sanmatrat Namarupa Prithakkritihi. Namarupa Prithakkritihi, 27th verse of Drishya Viveka. So Namarupa Prithakkritihi means the removal, separation. You don't remove but separate cognitively. Separation of the name and form from what? Yasmin kasmischa vastuni. If any object, wherever this can be open eye meditation also, just sitting by the Ganga, somebody is walking, so you remove the form, 5 feet 9 inches, you remove that. And 300 kilos, you remove that. Yeah, disregard that. And what is there? What is there in its stead?
Avihi.
Yeah, Avihi, consciousness, myself, Brahman, whatever you want to call it. And then this is a practice, this is the second kind of Vedantic meditation, where this Nama Rupa Prithakkritihi, this was talked about here also earlier in the previous shlokas. This Nama Rupa Prithakkritihi from what? Yasmin Kasminscha Vastuni, any object that you are encountering. You can do that with inanimate objects also. The eyes fall on a interesting shaped rock in Mother Ganga. On that rock also the same thing. Rock means it has a form, it has a name. You just disregard that. What you see is Shuddha Chaitanya. You see everywhere pure Chaitanyam. And so this can be done open eye meditation, Bhashya Vastuni or Hridiva. So Hridiva, in the heart you can do it. Bhashya Deshe be open eyed meditation. Because Bhashya Deshe means outside the mind, whatever is happening in the empirical world. That means what? Open eye meditation. Rather Nididhyasana, because if you close your eyes you will not see anything. Then it becomes, what is that? Internal thing. So Hridi means in the heart. In the heart what is there? All the thoughts that come. So the thoughts of people, thoughts of objects, there also I peel off the Nama Rupa and see quote unquote, see the Vastu as non-separate from myself. I keep rekindling the Mahavakya Artha for myself. So that is the second kind of meditation Abhyasa. Vairagyam nama Drishta Drishta Bhogeshu Dosha Darshana Abhyasa Vaitrishyam Tena Cha Vairagyena Drishyate is Vairagya? Vairagyam Nama. Again, Nama here, just in the sense of this is well known. So what is Vairagya? Drishta, Adrishta, Bhogeshu. Bhogeshu with regard to Vishaya Saptami. So with regard to what? Drishta Bhoga and Drishta Bhoga. So the Bhoga means enjoyment of the objectifiable, seen and very much present things, and then Adrishta, subtle, unseen, invisible, not immediately available things. So the longing for all that longing has been removed through what? Vairagya, which is also what? Abhyasa. Yeah, this is a secret abhyasa, second kind of abhyasa. The Vairagya has to become what? Abhyasa only. And so this is Vairagyasya abhyasa. The Vairagya needs abhyasa. You cannot say, when long ago, 10 years ago, I gave up something or the other. Then, now what? Now I don't need to give up because I gave it up once. It's not enough to give it up once and then go back on to it. It's like the person given to alcohol saying, giving up alcohol is very easy. How? Because I've already given up 35 times. So Vairagya is not easy. This is what Adi Shankara tells us here, and Lord Krishna also tells in the verse, Vairagya is not easy. Therefore, Adi Shankara makes Vairagya also into what? Repetitive practice. Then only it becomes Vairagya. Because especially if there are very heavy duty binding desires, then one time giving up is not enough. Because it will keep on coming back. Keep on coming back. So you make a sankalpa. This is not suiting me. I am going to give up sugar. From this moment on, no more sugar. And then what? Lunch bell rings. Gulab jamuns. And then what happens? I start from tomorrow. I can start any time. Why today? Who made the rule? Only I made the rule. So if I break the rule, I'm not lying, because how can I lie to myself? That's not possible. It is possible, okay? But this is what the feeling is. It's not possible. I made the rule. I can make it again. So from tomorrow, no sweets. Or another person is even cleverer than this one is actually a little dumb. Another person says no to all the sweets except gulab jamun. Cleverer yet. Okay? So like this, we give excuses. We give excuses starting with a diet. So something doesn't agree with me, I have given it up, but on that day only I say, okay, cholesterol is rising, and therefore what? No fried things, except pakoda, except vada, except chips. What else is there, Yeah, of course, except samosa, except jalebi, except all that, no fried things. So, we carving out areas, and then that weakens the Vairagya. That weakens the Vairagya, and then when you give something up, there is a feeling of victory, but not only that, after you give it up, you feel, why was I struggling with this so much? The craving goes away. Actually, the craving is not for that particular thing. This is an important discussion when we study Vairagya. The craving is not for that gulab jamun. What is the craving for? What it represents. Everything is desired for what it represents. And what it represents is it fills up some hole here, apparently, not really. One thinks one fills up some lack. So if I have this sweet object, then I will fill up a lack that is there. If I have this addictive object, substance, I will fill up a lack that is there. If I have this will feel better. That's why certain foods are marked comfort foods. What are comfort foods? Carby foods, full of carbohydrates. One becomes a carby baby after eating it. Full of carbohydrates, That is a comfort food. Lots of potatoes. Everybody gets happy when potatoes are cooked here. Okay, especially that, what is that word? Fried, because this is two comfort zones come. So sometimes they make these fried potatoes with some masala or dog. And that day there will always be a sabji shortage because it is universal comfort food. Even the person who is not taking sabji that much will say, put more, please put more, put more. And we go back for second time, third time, they will go back. So certain foods are comfort foods because they give the impression. This is abhasa, this is not reality. They give the abhasa of filling up the hole left by Atma Ajnana. Ultimately, that is the biggest hole. There is no other hole. And that hole is filled by knowing you are the hole. WHOLE. Okay? That is how it is filled. Not by these interim things. So any addiction is because of what I think it will fill up. So somebody is feeling bad, and then you have this whole lot of fried potatoes. And there is also some things that comes. No, what is that? Long French fries. Yeah, we love the French people for this particular invention. Everybody likes. Pujya Swamiji also, it was not good for him. You kept a plate, it would be gone. Yes. So they would give him or two. And then, what would he do? He would take, can I look at the plate? Yes, Swamiji. And the two he had in hand, he would give as prasad and take the whole plate. So, this is the power of these kinds of foods, because they comfort and they are tasty. They are tasty. They will have lots of sugar, salt, and all other things which make me feel that bad feeling that came because I don't love myself, or there is self-judgment, self-critique, self-loathe is gone away. For how long? Until you get a stomachache, it's gone away. Yeah. After that it comes back again. But I am not far thinking. I am only interested in right now. I want to get over that horrible feeling in the heart. So quickly I will eat something. Quickly I will go do something which is not good for me. Quickly I will engage in some activity. And from this we have to have vairagya. Dosha darshanam means this is what is dosha darshanam. I see the finitude of these objects in filling this big hole. Grand Canyon size hole. The black hole in the middle of every galaxy is smaller than the hole in the heart, the proverbial hole in the heart. That hole in the heart can only be filled up by what? Shravana Manana Nididhyasanaihi, not by anything else. This is dosha darshanam. That for such a big hole, like if there is a big wound on the hand, you can't have a small plaster. Okay, let's put a small plaster. Why? It needs stitches. A small band-aid will not do anything. It needs staples, stitches, and so this life-size hole, this huge hole in the heart, which is a unfortunate prasada of Atma Ajnanam, this sense of lack centered on the I, this sense of self-loath, this sense of self-critique and self-judgment will only be filled up by, Shravana, will only be filled up by Atma Jnanam. And this Viveka will give me Vairagya for the here and the now. For those objects, Vairagya will come because that longing is now directed towards moksha. Because moksha is the sadhana for freedom from lack. Moksha is the way to get rid of this to get rid of this feeling of lack. Moksha is the way. Not through filling up through objects, people, situations, things. That's how the Vairagya comes. So the Viveka is not mentioned, but it has to be brought in. Nitya Vastu Viveka, Karya Vastu Viveka, Dharma Vastu Viveka, all these things. Which activities should I indulge in, which not? And if this is anitya, why is there a desire for this? That inquiry leads me to see that the only way this whole will be filled up is through gaining moksha. Moksha prasada is the cementing of this whole. How? By showing that the whole is mithya. In fact, one was already WHOLE, but because of ajnanam, the W was swallowed up. What was left? HOLE. So therefore, this is what is vairagya, and it has to be done muhur again and again, because the desire for objects is a desire that is displaced from moksha. This we have to understand. There is only one desire in the heart, to be free of all desires. That is the desire for moksha. So the desire for moksha, if it is not understood through nishchayatmika buddhi, then it will morph into desires for all kinds of comfortable situations, comfortable things. Right now I need to feel good objects. That is how it morphs. So to see, that is the dosha. The objects by themselves cannot fill me up. The only desire is for moksha, and so all these other desires centered on various objects, people, events, situations have to be dropped repeatedly. This is what is called vairagya. And then abhyasa has to be done of this vairagya repeatedly. And then drishta, adrishta. Adrishta means paraloka. And drishta means ihaloka. So ihaloka, paraloka bhogeshu. So this loka and other lokas. We need not even the other lokas. I have never been to a foreign country. I really want to go. I wonder what it is like. So it is also like another loka, because I have not been there. And it is adrishta. I want to go. So it could be even here on this earth also. It could be there. Various experiences, known and unknown, seen and unseen. I have to see the fallacies that this is just a little band-aid. It is not going to help this big hole in the heart. And so knowing that abhyasa, because of this abhyasa, what do I get? Vaidrishnyam, Vitrishnayaha bhava. Vaidrishnyam. So the status of having freedom from craving. Krishna means craving, not Krishna. That is who is speaking this verse. Krishna. Krishna means longing, thirst. So this Vaidrishnyam is crossing over that longing. The status of being free of that longing for all kinds of things and focusing on where that longing is. And that longing is for total self-acceptance. That's the only desire. So with Krishna, freedom from longing, tasyaha bhavaha. So the status of that is called Vaidrishnyam. So tena cha vairagyena. So by this vairagya, which is what? Vaidrishnya. So this vairagya for all kinds of longings, what happens? This chittasya pracharaha grihyate. Prachara here doesn't mean advertising. Prachara in Hindi means advertising. But here it means movement. Prachalanam, pracharaha. So chittasya prachalanam. Chittasya restlessness. Chittasya, the restlessness of the heart and the mind. The turbulence of the mind. Chittasya prachalanam, chittasya pracharaha grihyate, is conquered, is made to rest, is easily conquered. How is it conquered? What is the chittasya pracharaha? Vikshepa rupaha pracharaha. This prachalanam is vikshepa rupa, in the form of vikshepa, unfocused, disastrous, short-term attention span, which everybody has, thanks to smartphones. Smartphones means what? My buddhi, my smartness, I have given to the phone. So much so, people don't even know their own number. Please give me your number. Wait, I'll look in the phone and tell. This is what it has happened. Before these mobiles and everything came, the mind itself was the, what is that called? The phone book. Telephone book. Mine was a telephone. Not only did I remember my number, or the people I called regularly, I would remember. Everybody's number I would remember. Now what? My own number also. I don't remember. It's just intellectual slackness. All these, the gadgets are becoming small, but the effects are very big, huge effects. And then you go and then they make the internet also in terms of short videos, less than 30 seconds. Why? Because they want you to see another one after that and another one. And so they give you all these short videos, they are called shorts. And then attention span also becomes short. Because you go from this to that, because nobody has 1 hour Vedanta lecture. Very few people will listen. And even the acharyas have started to make shorts. Really. Even our own acharyas. They will just, they will record the whole lecture and then they will give a bite size. Like they will say, in their sweetest voice, they will say, Jnana devatu kaivalyam. Only through knowledge you will get moksha, which is true, but only that much will be there. Or, how did you wake up today? Is your mind restless? Are you completely in a flux? Do you have trouble focusing? Come to Vedanta. That's the short. Okay? Because they know that they are dealing with the adhikaris. What kind of adhikaris? Short attention span adhikaris. Yes. So to be relevant in these days, at these times, the acharyas also have to do various shenanigans. Yes. Podcast. What is podcast? But anyhow, podcast. And then all these little short. This little 10-second blurb about Vedanta. 10-second blurb how to give about Vedanta. That Vedanta which is all, the beauty of which is in its unfoldment. What can you say in 10 seconds? But this is what people want. So the short attention span is the prasada of Kali Yuga, plus also the prasada of Adnyanam combined, and then because of which there is Viksheva. One goes from one pursuit to another, and then why there is this, what is the cause of this Viksheva? The cause of this Viksheva, the ultimate cause is non-acceptance of oneself, non-self-acceptance, self-judgment, self-critique, self-loath is the self-questioning, under self-confidence, self-underconfidence. This is all comes out as Viksheva Rupa Prachara Chittasya Vairagyena Cha Grihyate. Evam tat Manaha Grihyate Niruddhate Ityartha. So, Niruddhate means it comes to a place of sinking into the heart. Stops. So, the place of the mind in ancient Chinese medicine, in Ayurveda and in the Shastra is in the heart. Spiritual heart, not real heart. Where you say I. That core, that center of the Antakarana, where the I is cognized, that is the place, the resting place of the mind. So Niruddhate means goes to its resting place. And in the Chandogya Upanishad, the beautiful imagery is given of the hunter, of the bird that has been caught by the hunter. And the hunter is going to sell it or tame it or something. So what does he do? A cruel practice by which he ties the leg of the bird to a pole and leaves it. And it flies. Gets tired, exhausted, and then sits on that very pole. Tired, exhausted, but at rest. The mind is like this bird, not a very nice imagery, but think about the appropriateness of this. That is where the beauty of the Drishtanta is. So in the 6th chapter Chandogya we have this. So this Pakshi example, what does the Pakshi do? The Pakshi flutters around. You know, the Pakshi flutters around, and the Pakshi is Manasthaniya Pakshi. It is in the place of the mind. The the pakshi, instead of the bird, you see the mind. So the mind tethered by nididhyasana, first let us everywhere. Tethered by dhyana, caught by the mantra, caught by vairagya and abhyasa, goes everywhere. Oh no, I can't do this, I'm not going to meditate. I will fly free from you. I will go away. No other option. Getting tired of its own rest.